Hello and welcome to Modelled Ads. Today we're going to be taking a walk through the revised late war Atlantik Wall supplement for Flames of War, kindly provided by Battlefront. The Atlantik Wall supplement can be bought separately or with Overlord as part of the D-Day compendium and has been updated and expanded by Wayne Turner with assistance from Michael Hort and Phil Yates and is available for $50 or £30. Like its predecessor Earth and Steel, Atlantik Wall covers Flames of War's late period 1944 to 45 and specifically the Allied invasion of France between the 6th of June and the start of Operation Market Garden on the 17th of September 1944. Where Earth and Steel was 217 pages, Atlantik Wall is 241 pages long and consists of Heer, Luftwaffe and Waffen-SS intelligence briefings and warriors. As with my Overlord review, I'll be focusing on what's new or different between these two books. Battlefront consistently maintains high standards of production, and it comes as no surprise that Atlantik Wall is a well-illustrated hardback book that follows a familiar format, opening with a useful guide for new players about building and basing your army. This is followed by a brief introduction to the initial D-Day landings themselves, before starting on the relevant company listings. We start with the renamed fortified company list of the Confident Veteran 352nd Infantry Division on Omaha Beach and the newly introduced Confident Trained 716th Infantry Division on Gold, Juno and Sword beaches. Bunkers and obstacles are centre stage in these lists with interesting variations that reflect the differences in the fighting on the American and Commonwealth beaches. The use of special rules and different levels of skill and motivation to reflect, in this case, the flavour of different beaches, or, in others, regiments and divisions, is continued throughout the supplement, and we're first introduced to it here with icons indicating the American and Commonwealth beaches. An expanded Fusilier Company infantry list follows, adjusted to better reflect the 352nd and 716th Divisions Reserve, with a reconnaissance support platoon now available for the former. The 352nd's Confident Veteran Stugabteilung remains largely unchanged as we move on and skirt over the divisional support options. In case you think you've forgotten Utah, you're given the option to field a 3rd Infantry Division, the Confident Trained 709th, as a Sword Beach Fortress Company, or the later Grenadier list when fighting in the defence of Cherbourg itself. Cracking on, we get to the Confident Veterans of the 21st Panzer Division, with a slightly more expensive but otherwise unchanged Hans von look being brought into line with the version 3 rule changes. Refined Confident Veteran 21st Panzer Division tank and Boot Stug mechanised company lists follow, with a slight reduction in points, before the Confident Veterans of the Gepanzer Panzer Grenadier mechanised list rolls up next, tweaked to include an option to select minefields. The minefield fortifications are an interesting addition to Atlantik Wall, consisting of 2 or more HMG nests and up to 8 associated minefields at the cost of your HMG's platoon. Selecting this option gives access to dug-in Panzer IVs, enables the company to become fortified and use the prepared positions special rule, whilst in this particular case abandoning its half-tracks. This option is available for the remaining Confident Veteran Panzer Grenadier Infantry, Panzer Pioneer and Reconnaissance Squadron mechanised lists that follow. The Confident Veterans of the Armoured Car list remain much the same, but with added vavavoom in the form of flamethrowers, as we pause for breath before looking at the 16th Luftwaffe Field Division. A reluctant trained Luftwaffe Jäger Company opens this section with changes that include the option to field Allied SS platoons and become a fortified company through the selection of minefields. Cracking on, we get to the largely unchanged Confident Veterans of the 503rd Schwer Panzerabteilung or the Heavy Tank Company with their Tigers. The ever-popular Panzer Lehr follows, with the newly added 2nd and 9th Panzer Divisions represented by a generic company list with different options available for each. All are Confident Veterans. Puma fans will be pleased to see that these are now available for Lehr and 2nd Panzer Division, whilst the Panzer IIL Lux makes a welcome appearance for the 9th Panzer Division. Similar options are available for a Gepanzer Panzer Grenadier mechanised list, a newly added motorised Panzer Grenadier Infantry list, which has some heavy tank support, a Gepanzer Panzer Pioneer mechanised company list, a new infantry eating tank busting Panzer Pioneer mechanised company, which shares the heavy tank support with its sister infantry list, and a recon squadron, all of which have the option to become fortified and field Pumas. After the divisional support options, we're into Operation Bluecoat and the 654th Heavy Tank Hunter Battalion and its Jagdpanthers. An unchanged Hauptmann Karl-Heinz Nolk precedes the largely unchanged Confident Veteran Heavy Tank Hunter list. Next up comes a generic Confident Trained Grenadier and new Pioneer Infantry list, reflecting the Lancers of the 18 infantry divisions that fought in and around Normandy. Grenadier and Grenadier companies can now be allied with SS platoons, become fortified and call upon some useful support from those big cats. Shifting over to the Cotentin Peninsula comes the new Confident Trained Butte Panzer tank list, consisting of captured French Char B, Saumur, Hotchkiss and Renault tanks. In contrast to the previous lists where differences between divisional units are reflected in support options, it's interesting to note that the 2nd Fallschirmjager Division and the 6th Fallschirmjager Regiment have been amalgamated into a generic Fearless Veteran list in Atlantik Wall. Personally, this is a disappointment and a lost opportunity to add Oberstleutnant Freiherr von der Heid to the meagre list of warriors included in this book. On the plus side, Fallschirmjäger do now get recon through options for scouts as well as minefields. Alternatively, you can field a similarly equipped but otherwise unchanged Fearless Veteran Fallschirmjäger Pioneer Company. After a recap of Operation Cobra, in come the villains of the piece with the Waffen-SS list and an unchanged Michael Wittmann. His Fearless Heavy Tank list follows, with an additional option to field Fallschirmjäger support. No new SS special rules have been added, but those that do exist have been adjusted to become division specific, with the newly incorporated 1st SS Panzer Division Leibstandard Adolf Hitler, 9th SS Panzer Division Hohenstaufen and 10th Panzer Division Frundsberg. An unchanged Ernst Berkman follows with his ahistorical ability to division hop with a bonus Spot the Deliberate Error misprint under his Stalker rule. This is followed by a broadly similar Fearless Veteran SS Tank, SS Gepanzert Panzer Grenadier Mechanised, SS Panzer Grenadier Infantry and Panzer Pioneer, Recon and Armoured Car Mechanised lists, with Pumas conditionally available for all. With the exception of the Armoured Car Company, all have the option to fortify. After the SS divisional support options, we have the completely revised and intriguing prospect of fielding a mixed Fearless Veteran, Confident Trained Fortress Company that reflects the 2nd Fallschirmjäger and 343rd Infantry Divisions fighting in Brittany, including their own variant of field fortifications. An interesting addition is the presence of a captured Fallschirmjäger Panzer platoon of American armoured fighting vehicles that presents an interesting modelling opportunity. The lists close with the core support options and the notable addition of super heavy 30cm rocket artillery. A helpfully compiled arsenal follows, before handy painting guides for Grenadiers, Luftwaffe, Panzer Lehr and Waffen-SS figures. So, where does all this leave us? The changes in Atlantik Wall are largely refinements, with the biggest alterations reserved for the Festungskompanie. Given that you are not likely to be regularly playing with these lists, does it all add up to a purchase? Well, like Overlord, I think it depends on where you're at as a player. If you are a tournament player, then it's a no-brainer. You'll not want to be without it. If you're new to Flames of War and coming from the Open Fire starter set, or don't have Earth and Steel, then I'd also recommend it. If you're an existing player with a copy of Earth and Steel, you may wish to think carefully before purchasing. With only a few completely new lists, £30 is a lot to pay if you've got the basics already, and now, as of the 6th of August, Easy Army currently has the beach defence lists up. With the promise of the 21st Panzer lists not far behind, you might be tempted by another box set of figures rather than a volume of intelligence briefings. That said, I like the nuances introduced, and there's now more than enough choice to spoil even the most discerning German player, even though some will bemoan the points changes and tweaks. And did I talk about the Pumas? Oh yeah, the Pumas. Now where did I leave my wallet?